Okay, tonight we're going to talk about leadership and how I think a good leader should handle things. And over the course of this semester, we've talked a lot and learned a lot about different leadership styles and what it means to be a leader. We've had case studies that we've looked into and various coaches and leaders that we've studied, and we've learned a lot about how they do things. Before I start my little presentation, I just want to address something that I feel is very important, and that is the idea of adopting and adapting. As we've learned about a lot of this stuff, I feel like it's very, very important that we don't try to adopt leadership principles and styles wholesale. We can't just take John Wooden's pyramid and try to own it and use it ourselves. I think that we have to take these ideas that we've learned, these principles, and then we got to forge our own style of leadership and own it, because that's the only way we're going to be genuine in the way that we lead. If we look at the very, very first leadership role ever to exist, that being of a parent, we can see that one certain type of leadership doesn't work for every situation. I look at different parents and how they raise their kids, and every single one is different. I have two boys, and I've had to be a leader to each of them differently. My wife and I've had to treat both differently and act differently around them and have different rules and different things because they are different. And so leadership requires adopting and adapting principles and rules and things that we learn, and then adapting them to the way that we lead, to our followers, how and what our followers need, and how we can give that to them in a way that makes the whole team successful. So with that said, I'm going to share my leadership principles and my leadership style, and I ask that you feel free to adopt and adapt what you hear tonight. What I'm going to present tonight is what I've called the 3 S's of successful leadership, and I actually came up with them years ago. It's been over 25 years now. When I was a young missionary serving in France, I created a plan for myself, and I called it the Becoming a Leader Plan, BAL for short. And these are the 3 tenets and pillars that I created, that I focused on, and that I've used throughout my career as a leader in various places. The first we'll talk about is be a shepherd. A shepherd leads their sheep and builds trust in his sheep, and is able to get to the point where his sheep follow him, and they trust that he'll take care of them and lead them to water and to grass and to food. Being a shepherd, to me, in the terms of leadership, means that you understand who your followers are. You understand their needs. You understand their goals, what they're trying to accomplish, and then you help them get there. Being a shepherd means that you know each of your team members and your followers. You know and have a relationship with them, and you trust them, and they trust you. I think it's very important. Relationships, as we studied this semester, are foundational to good teamwork and success. We have to know who our followers are and what they need, and like I mentioned before, we have to adapt to be able to support them, and in turn they will support us and the team and what we're trying to accomplish. The second pillar is be a scholar. We always, as leaders, we always have to be on top of the game. We always have to know what is the new innovation, the things that are happening, and it's a learning process. And if you stop learning, you become stagnant. You become, you just become irrelevant. And so it's very important to continue to learn, to continue to innovate, and to use those things that you learn from other people, from other leaders, from books and any kind of book. It can be fiction, it can be nonfiction. It's important to have that basis of creativity, of knowledge, and just intellectual study, so that you can use those things to teach your team, to give them object lessons when they need them, and to just be on top of the game. And so that's being a scholar. And lastly, the third pillar and the third S is being a saint. Now, this doesn't mean what you might think it means. It really has nothing to do with religion, really, but it just means to do things the right way, to be honest, to obey the rules, to not cut corners and take shortcuts. When those things happen and trouble rises, you're going to lose respect, you're going to lose trust, and that stuff is hard to regain. And so as a leader, you have to do things the right way. You have to treat people the right way. You have to obey the rules and the laws. You have to, just be an honest, good person that people can trust. And as you do, your followers will trust you, and you will be successful. There's no need to cut corners to be successful, ever. And if that's what you have to do, you probably are missing out on other principles and characteristics in your leadership that you probably need to work on. So those are my 3 S's. Be a shepherd, take care of your followers. Be a scholar, always be learning. And be a saint, do things the right way. Those are my 3 S's of successful leadership. I've used them in my career, in my life, and they've worked really well for me. I encourage you to take pieces of what I've mentioned today and adopt them in your leadership style. Adapt them in your way. Become a genuine leader of principles and leadership styles that you own, so that you can be genuine to your followers and lead them in ways that they know that you fully adopt and fully embrace. Because if you don't, and if you only if you're just trying to emulate somebody else, it's not going to be as successful as if you own your own leadership. And so that's my advice to anybody looking to step up their leadership game, is to adopt and adapt. Take bits and pieces of things that you like about other leaders and build them up in your own way, and own your own pillars and tenets of leadership like I've shown here. And that's my TED Talk. Thanks for listening.